Hello everyone. I'd like to talk to you about weed trimmers and what I've learned over the past few decades that I've used them. Some of it's common sense, some of it's not. Take it for, what there is to learn from it. I've been using these for a very long time, and there's many different styles. I like the Echo brand. I'm not endorsed. Shin makes a good one. Still makes a good one. There's a couple of different types of shafts. I like the straight shaft. Okay. There's also a curved shaft that I'm not such a big fan of. I've owned many different brands, by the way. I've owned many different trimmers. I've also owned the split trimmer shaft, where there's a coupling right here where you can pull off the different heads and use the trimmer, the edger, the hedge clipper. I've had those also, but this is my favorite by far, actually. It's the straight shaft trimmer, and it's a semi-commercial. You can tell right here by how thick this part is on how heavy duty it is. That's the clutch, and if it has a very thick cowling right here, that's a much heavier duty machine, just at a glance. The heavier duty the machine, the more it's going to weigh. And I like the one that's just like a step down below heavy duty, because unless you're breaking in a new yard, you don't need to have that weight carried around all the time. Now, I always pull off my heads. They come with a bump head, and the new ones are a lot better, where you take a string, feed it through, and have it equal on both ends, and then you turn it clockwise, or I'm sorry, counterclockwise, and then when you're using it, you bounce the bottom of it, and it spins out. I'm not a big fan of that. You go through way too much string, and let me just show you what I like. These are speed heads, and you cut 8-inch strips, okay, and they feed in through here, and then you just, if they start getting raggedy or they break off, just grab them with pliers right here, pull them through, and feed another 8-inch one in of the line trim. I like to use the heaviest line trim that I can. I used to buy the line in reels or spools, but I don't use it that much anymore. So you can get them in these smaller containers, and I like the thicker material. And when you pull it out of the package, you'll realize that they have very sharp edges. It's not a round. It's a much more heavy-duty commercial grade line. So this is what I use, and I pull them out, cut them at 8 inches in length, and then I just stick them in my pocket. Again, I replace the head, and there's another head that has 3, but I find that it's too heavy for most machines. So I like the one that just has the 2 lines coming out of it. Now, I'm not telling anybody to do this. Matter of fact, I don't do this. But I always remove the guard also that comes behind it here. And I like to see the head, and I can put this underneath a fence really easily and see where those lines are, because these lines will cut your AC thermostat wires. They will cut piping outside for the spigots around the house. They will and let me say something else about that guard on there. I've broken a window with this, with a guard on it, and I was walking around a yard, and I felt like there was a rock stuck to my leg. It had picked up a nail and embedded it into my leg. So I'm not telling you to take off a guard, that's on you. But I like to see my head, and I had a nail put into me with a guard on, and I broke a window with a guard on. So I see no advantage to these guards. I think they need to really think those out a lot more. So I like the lighter machine than the super heavy duty ones. And I also like to have an edger with a string trimmer. Yes, you can hold it at an angle and go up a sidewalk and a driveway that's already established, but an edger does such a better job. And then I just like to have a hedge clipper on its own. I don't like to have the different heads. I'd like to tell you a couple other tips and tricks that I've learned over the years with these. The first thing is the fuel. It's an oil-gas mix so that you can hold this thing at many different angles and not have the engine run out of oil. That's why it's a two-stroke oil. You've got to keep your air filter clean, and it wouldn't harm you if you had a bunch of these. Yeah, that needs to be cleaned. It needs to be replaced actually. But this pops out, and oftentimes it'll get rained on and it'll give the engine a choke. So if you pull these out of your engines, just have a few of these on hand and you leave them to the side and they'll dry quick, and then you won't have a choking situation with your engine. Another thing is on eBay, and I'll show you a picture of what I'm talking about. The whole carburation kit, the primer bulb, the carburetor, the fuel lines that go inside here, if any of these are cracked or drawing air, this machine won't work proper. So this whole kit, which is unbelievable, it comes with a spark plug, primer bulb, the carburetor, the fuel lines, the filter inside, and the air nozzle that allows the tank to draw air. They sell them so inexpensively for $14 or so. So instead of, if your machine starts acting up or you're in the truck, just pull this off in the field, place the other one in, and you're back up and running. So buy 2 or 3, and it's so much cheaper than running to the repair shop. And then in your spare time, if you know how to rebuild one of these carburetors, you can. What a quick trick that is. All right. Safety equipment. I told you I removed the guard on the bottom, but I am safety concerned. Whenever I operate one of these things, I use a face shield. And this one came from Harbor Freight, and I think I paid under $14 for it. And this one's a little bit older, but you can see I take rocks. This thing will kick up. Make sure that you're very careful with people around, cars around, because this does throw things. I used to have Shin Guards, okay, that used to strap on. I just didn't like them. They felt you're really taking a chance of getting something in your legs, but I didn't like how I'm already hot, sweaty, and I'm walking around with Shin Guards. But a face shield, you've got to have that. And I don't mind if it's a screen mesh type or a full face shield, but wear one of these. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is how you start one of these. And most people don't understand it, and I just thought I would run through it with you. Whenever you start a small engine, when it's just first started, turn it on, bring the choke up so that you're literally closing off the air tube from the air filter into the throat of the carburetor, what it's doing is it's drawing fuel straight into the carburetor with a lower mixture of air. And it's just giving it a chance to get, you know, that first fire or two going. And then you open the airflow, and that's when you're no longer choking the engine. And that's what's going to allow it to run very fast. These machines are designed to be ran full open. Don't walk around a yard with it just idling, you know, when you're cutting. When you're cutting, full speed. That's how these things are meant to be operated. I hope this helps you. If you take care of these, they'll last a long time. If you don't take care of them, I have been known to, I ran one without an air filter and I blew it out almost immediately. A lesson learned. Always run with an air filter. I scored the cylinder. It's just youthful ignorance. These will last a long time. I'll catch you on the next one.